What's up, you guys? Okay, this is not the video that I wanted to bring you today, but it has been one of those days. So I am in the car with a giant pimple doing this video, and it's happening and we're doing it, and oh my fucking god. I have just had the most stressful day, and people just, my stomach is like killing me. Like, I think I'm developing an ulcer. I'm so fucking stressed right now, but that's okay. We are gonna feel better because we're gonna make a video and we're gonna have this moment in this terrible lighting, and it's gonna be great. I am participating in hashtag Neo-Pagan November. This was begun by my wonderful friend Brittany, the Sunshine State Witch. I don't know why I always have trouble saying that when I'm on a video. I'm like, it's not that difficult. The Sunshine State Witch, like, it's right there. I will put a link down to her video where she talks all about this challenge. So every day there's a prompt and you just do whatever it is that you want to do on the day, right? Like whatever word association or thing comes to your mind about that particular word is what you would share. So I'm going to do this a little differently. They are in order, but what I've decided to do to be able to fit it into my life at this time is to group them together. There are already like 6 or 7 that I'm going to create separate videos for. But I've got 5 that I'm going to chuck all in the same one because I can just like talk about it with you here while I'm sitting in the car. Okay, so if you do want to participate in this challenge, make sure you leave the tag hashtag Neo-Pagan November in the video link, or if you want to do this on Instagram as like Instagram posts or like stories or whatever. I don't know if you can hashtag stories, but do your thing, do your thing. The first one is light. What I wanted to talk about was my aversion to light. So I've always had this thing where when it comes to spring, when we come into the light half of the year, ever since I was a kid, I've always I get anxious. I start to get anxious when we come out of hibernation stage. I always had an aversion to summer, and I would often cast spells at night, right? It just felt right. It just sort of felt like the right thing to do. What I've realized now is through the process of me accepting the natural world, if you will, better, I've actually come to a place where I appreciate the light a lot more. I still don't like heat. I'm still not a big fan of spring because it just we go through in spring, it's like either hot or it's okay. Sometimes it's cold, but it gets really hot and then it will back off, and then it gets really hot and then it backs off, and then it gets hot and then it backs off, and then it's summer and it's just here. So this year's a little different because we've got La Nina down here. So there's El Nino and La Nina. And La Nina is a weather pattern where you get a lot of rain and this sort of stuff, which is why there's a lot of flooding and that sort of thing in my country at the moment. And, so yeah, we're lucky we're not affected, but at least we haven't been so far. But there's a lot of places in my state that are underwater right now, which is just crazy, but it's because of that weather pattern. Anyway, so it's going to be a very humid kind of wet summer this year, which the last time we had one of those was when I was 14, and I actually lived close enough to the school that I would walk home, and I loved it. It was my most favorite summer that I can remember to date. So I would just it would be a hot, sweaty, disgusting day at school, and then I would walk home and get fucking drenched, on the way home, and it was just the best. Anyway, but what I've realized now is that, so my spell casting used to most often happen at nighttime, but now it most happens during the day. Now this is partly, I'm sure a very large part of it is because of my schedule. So I generally work when my husband's working. So he works from home as well. We both work from home. So I usually kind of keep the same hours as him. I've found that it's much easier for me to feel motivated to do work, particularly work that feels a little painful, if my husband's across the hall doing work as well, So I've just found I put spell work into my day rather than waiting until nighttime often to do it. Unless, it's something that I need to do at nighttime or whatever, that's fine. But generally speaking, most of my spell work now happens during the day in the light. So there you go. All right, the next one I'm going to do today is actually prompt number 4, and that is, I once thought ... Okay, a little bit of shade, not gonna lie. We just came, we talked about light, now we're going shady. So I once thought, or I thought at the very beginning of my practice, that very naively, that all people who were witches or sort of like pagan folk would be very much into like self-development and have a growth mindset and be kind and all this kind of stuff. Because this is like, I mean, particularly the first two, the self-development and the growth mindset, this is what I came into my path with, like what I was really wanting and what I was looking for and just the stage that I was in. So I figured that a lot of, like everyone else, would kind of be the same. And that's the naivety, right? Like there's a lot of people who are like, people should be like me and then the world would be better. It's just like, that's great, but that's not human nature. We're not like you, right? That was surprising to me, like after a few years of kind of being around the block, just realizing that there's still a huge amount of people that are, you know, just kind of sitting in victim mentality, who just want to blame their problems on external things, like it's other people's fault, it's that can't do anything about it, like life is either good or bad and that's all there is, I'm either talented or I'm not and that's all there is, this kind of thing. That is something that I once thought and I now know not to be true. We are coloured with all colours of the rainbow. And, you know, in the community, if you will, there is good people, there is bad people, there are kind people, there are assholes. And it's probably about as much as any other community that I've ever been a part of. I thought it would be, you know, more enlightened maybe than elsewhere, but it's just the same as everywhere else. You know, people are people and some people are dicks and that's just what it is. So the next prompt I'm going to do is number 6, and that is darkness. So I thought I would just talk to you guys about my dark night of the soul. So I struggled with depression for many, many years. From the age of 13 to about 24, I had pretty severe depression on and off, and, you know, it would shift and morph and change, and the way I experienced it would be different over years and stuff like that. I was suicidal for quite a few of those years. I self-harmed for quite a few of those years. It was just a really, really bad time. So that's kind of my background, and I deal these days, like I work with a lot of students and clients who are in similar places to what I was. Some of the things that they go through are kind of similar. That kind of just that depth of darkness that you feel like you are never going to be able to escape. And if you are someone that's in this place, I just want to encourage you. Like, I was talking to someone about this today. It is possible to find a place of healing and harmony for yourself. There is not one right answer. First of all, I think there comes the acceptance of there is something I can do about this. That was in my situation. It's going to be different for everyone because there is a lot to this, right? So it may be that you need a particular different message, but if you are like me, and what I needed to hear and what was one of the most painful things to hear was that I actually could do something about it and I had the ability to try, right? And it was going to take a fuck ton of hard work and trying things, you know, to be able to find what it was that would like work for me. But I did that, and it has been a many, many year process. I still struggle with anxiety, which is annoying. Actually, when I've looked back, I've gone, oh yeah, I've always had a bit of an anxiety thing, like ever since I was a little kid. I think some of that is personality, but I think a lot of it is actually nurture. Like, I think my mum really taught me to be anxious. Like, when I look back and I talk to my sisters about some of the stuff that she passed on to us, it's just like, no wonder I'm so fucking anxious, right? But depression is not something that I have to feel, I guess, anymore. So it's been about, roughly about 10 years, I suppose now, since I've felt that unbelievable weight on my shoulders. And I don't really know why I'm telling you guys this. I mean, it's just a prompt, right? Like, I just kind of thought I would talk about this, but I just want you to know that there is hope and that you can get better. And it fucking sucks that it's not some simple answer, you know, just take some meds or just go see a psych or have a better diet or do some exercise or journal or dig into yourself or like whatever it is. Like, there's all the different things, but it's possible. And you don't have to change everything at once. It's just about making tiny little incremental changes. And one day you will look back and your life will be very, very different. So, yeah. All right, the next one is number 7. So we're in order, and that is into the forest. So the forest, I feel, is like the place of my soul. Like when I'm amongst trees and in green places, I am so happy. I'm so happy. So I'm really lucky. I used to live in a place called Emerald, and this is in the Dandenong Ranges in Melbourne, well, in Victoria. And it is the most beautiful place. It's like rainforesty. It's just fucking gorgeous. And I was lucky enough to be able to live there for a couple of years with a friend's family. It was the first place I moved after I moved out of home. Home was not a good time at the time. So I was 19, it would have been 19 to just before I was 21 really. So it was like a little bit less than 2 years. This is the most magical place, and I have taken you guys there before. So I did a vlog kind of recently, I'll link it down below, where I went to a particular place in the hills, and there's like a walk there. We watched the sunrise. There's like a fairy door in a tree. Like, it's fucking unbelievable, right? It's the most incredible place. So that place feels like home to me, even though I was only there for a short period of time. And it is a place I really, really want to move back to. So I moved out of there. It was crazy how it happened, actually. All within the space of one weekend, I got a new job, I moved out, and I found out I was pregnant. Like, it was insane. Actually, and it's funny, I actually moved back to the place where I'm at right now. I'm just taking my son to, he's doing wrestling. He does jiu-jitsu, but we're trying to up his game a bit. So he's doing some wrestling as well, which is why I'm sitting here. And so I'm in a suburb away from where I live now, but this is actually where I moved to. Not that that matters to you at all or makes any difference, but just saying. So around here, it's very suburban, very built up. We do have the beach, so that's super, super lucky. So the beach is right across the road. It takes a little while for me to walk there just because there's a train track kind of going across. Like, if there wasn't there, I could just like cut straight across the road, but I've got to like walk up a bit and go across, which is fine, right? So there's a beach there, which is great. But I really, really miss the trees, and I really actually found that when I lived down here last time, which was right before I moved up to the house where I used to film videos at. And I lived down here and I was like, the beach, like, I'm not into it. I miss the trees. I want the trees. And then when we moved to the other place, which had more trees, it's not quite the terrain that's like really of my soul, but it's not as green as I'd like it to be. But that was really great. But I miss the beach so much. So anyway, and now we're back down here again. We're at the beach and I'm missing the trees. So I think what might be good for me is like beach meets forest. You know, I feel like that would be ideal. But anyway, that's my story. Now lastly, my hand is incense. So I wanted to actually show you incense, but that's not a thing that's going to happen right now in the car. So I thought I would do a thing where I just like put them up on the screen for you guys or whatever. I just want to tell you a couple of my favorite incense, because why not? I have done a video on incense magic, so I'll link that down below as well. So if you'd like to check out specifically incenses that I use for magical work, you can go and do that if you like. But these are ones that I just love. So the first one is rose incense. So this particular brand of rose incense, it's amazing. I really don't think that it's good for your health. It's a very, very strong scent, very strong. Like depending on the size of the room, I can't be in a room with the door closed burning this incense because I'm like, like it's intense. But what I love about it is that it lingers for like hours and hours afterwards. So I can light an incense and then the room just like smells nice, for just ages. So, and I can still smell it. Like when you burn a lot of incense, you get used to it. And then like other people might come into your house and be like, dude, your house smells like incense, but you can't really smell it. You know what I mean? This one I can tell that I've burnt incense recently, which again, probably not great for health, but fucking amazing. And I've got a box in all my spaces that I burn incense in. My main spots are the kitchen, my room, bedroom, and by the front door. I've got an altar there that I every morning pretty well light incense at, and then I've got a few other holders throughout the house that I'll put things at. So each spot has a box. Love that one. The other one that I adore and is also quite strong is Woods Incense. So I don't have any of this on me at the moment, but I do have an order somewhere in the ether that is making its way to me. This is one of my favorites. So this is like, so the rose is obviously very rosy, very floral, very sort of like feminine. I would say the woods is a bit more of a masculine smell. Like it's deeper, it's earthier. It's just so fucking good. It's a bit more expensive, but you know, you can find good deals on it and stuff, but love Woods Incense. The other one is Bewitching. So this is one that I burn very frequently, and this is one that I do use for magical purposes as well. But like when I'm needing like a magical boost, when I'm just needing that vibe, right? Like when I'm needing to like stand in my power, or just like take on the world, or if I'm going to be doing magic later on or something like that, I will put on a stick of Bewitching, and it's so beautiful. It's so good. I know a bunch of you guys have tried it too, because we have talked about it previously, but that one's really nice as well. Honorable mention is Fizzy Pop. So I haven't had Fizzy Pop for years at this point. So the last time I had it, one of you guys actually sent me some, and this is how I even know about it. It's so expensive. So this is Wildberry. This is the brand Wildberry. They're so expensive. Oh my God. But it's an American brand. So it's of course much more expensive to get over here, or, you know, elsewhere in the world, I assume as well. Maybe it's UK. I think it's an American brand. Anyway, regardless, it's expensive here. So I haven't had it for super ages, but I actually bought some for Brittany, actually, my friend Brittany, for her birthday, which was kind of recently. So I got her some, and then she was, of course, talking about it. She's like, oh my God, it's so good. Love it. But I'm just like, oh my God, like I need more Fizzy Pop in my life. I gotta get some for myself. Still haven't done that yet. So I have reined in my spending a lot. I was still spending quite a bit, even though I was like, oh, this year's going to be a no spend year. But I have reined in my spending now. I don't know about you guys, but like I've been looking at all of the recession stuff. So I don't know if you're keeping an eye on like financially what's happening in the world. If you can, rein in your spending wherever possible. You know, just try and you know, be smart with your finances, because the next few years are going to be really rough. They're going to be really rough. And it's something that makes me a bit nervous, just having been through such terrible financial difficulties in the past. So that's like a shadow thing that I'm like working through and stuff. But yeah, things are going to get really intense, and they're going to get really bad for some people. Which fucking sucks, because as if anyone needs any more shit, right? After the last few years, Lord. Yeah, so anyway, my point is that I've reined in my spending, so I'm not getting things like that. Like one day I'll get some Fizzy Pop, like, you know, I'll get myself nice stuff here and there, you know, but I really am being a lot more careful now and using what I've got, and thinking about like going to the library instead of buying a book, and like, you know, going to the charity store instead of getting something brand new, or like whatever, you know. So anyway, I'm gonna go now, you guys. I am really quite warm in this car. It is very hot in here. I think I might read for just a little bit, and then I'm going to go in and watch my son do his wrestling. This was hashtag Neo-Pagan November. Oh my God, I can't believe I actually got it done today. Yay. I had it on my list this morning, and then all fucking hell broke loose. And I was just like, well, it's not going to happen now, is it? Because it's the only thing I can like let go of and not do. But we'll just do it here in the car, and it's going to be imperfect. I love you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you are still here, you are the fucking bomb.com. If you want to participate in hashtag Neo-Pagan November, let me know that you are. I would love to go around and see your stuff. But yeah, just put the hashtag in your description, and then we can all go along and like find your video and find new people, and it'll be fantastic. This is a great way, by the way, you guys, if you want to make a channel and you haven't yet, challenges like this are perfect, because you, first of all, you've got an idea of what to do, but second of all, you've got a bunch of other people that are doing this stuff, and they're actually going to be searching out the hashtag so people can find you, right? Because especially these days, it's so hard to like get found, because there are like thousands of witches on YouTube, right? And on Instagram and all of that. So anyway, if you want to be part of it, I might in my community tab, I'm going to put all of the prompts. So I'll put a picture with all of the prompts in there. But as I said, I'll link Brittany's original video down below so you can get it from there as well. I hope you guys get involved. I'll be making some standalone videos soon for some of the other prompts, and I'm really excited to share some of those things with you. All right, you guys, I will be talking to you very soon. Wishing you so much love and many blessings. Peace. Over the